Hi. Since I'm quite happy with the current state of my pedalboard, I thought I'd share some tips and tricks that might be helpful. I'll start with my pedal selection. First, the Boss RC3, just a basic looper. I might swap it for the RC5 because that one's MIDI controllable. Underneath that, the widely acclaimed Line 6 HX Stomp. That needs no further introduction. I think I mainly use it for the Kali bass amp. Then on top of that, the Emma Electronics Discombobulator. Don't ask me why they call it that way. Anyway, it's a really nice envelope filter. I've tried quite a few Source Audio ones. I've had the Mooger Fooger MF101 low pass filter. But I like this one the best. It's got a natural warm sound and still can be very funky. To the right of that is the Future Impact by Panda Audio. It is by far the best synth pedal I've tried. Having tried quite a few, the Source Audio C4, the Enzo Miris, and a couple of others. This one really takes the cake. It tracks amazingly and has really usable sounds that you can tweak on the pedal itself. Then we have the Seafoam expression pedal, just a basic alternative to an expression pedal, for which I lack room on my pedalboard, so I've solved it this way. Then my newest addition, the Luminite Graviton M2. It's an amazing MIDI pedal. It can do all sorts of things. It has a touchscreen that works really well, a menu structure that's really useful, so you don't need a PC or anything to program it. It sends out all sorts of MIDI messages through either normal MIDI, TRS, mini TRS, USB, and Bluetooth, thus enabling me to start samples from any iOS device without any cabling. Really nice. It also comes with a remote switch that you can mount to your bass guitar, and it's way cheaper than, for instance, the Morningstar, and has more functionality, in my view. Then last, the Cog FX T16. It's a super octaver that is comparable, in my view, to the Boss OC1, but has a better form factor and filter. So my first tip is make good use of the other side of your pedalboard. There's lots of space there, and there's always pedals that you have that you just set and forget. You don't really need to tweak them during a gig, so why not mount them where you have extra space anyway. I forgot to mention the Joyo wireless guitar system that you see the case of here. It's a charging case, so it gives me an extra 2 charges in case I need them. So that's tip number 2. A wireless system is not only convenient, but can also help eliminate noise picked up by your cable, which can function as a giant antenna, picking up all sorts of electromagnetic interference. Tip number 3, I have a power input connector mounted to the upside of the pedal, which connects to the Kiosk DC7. This way, I don't need to pick up the pedalboard every time I connect a cable to the Kiosk. Also, it has a switch, so it's permanently connected to the power in my house. Whenever I want to play, I just switch it on. I used to have a 5-meter Euro power cable. That's tip number 4. Very handy on large stages where you don't always have a power socket nearby. Unfortunately, it got lost and the sound guy didn't bother to bring it back. Then lastly, but not least, the Compact Bass by Origin Effects. It's an amazingly good compression pedal, the best I've ever tried. I hear there's a new one out. It's supposedly even better than this one, but in my view, if it ain't broken, don't fix it. The rubber band is to prevent the knobs from getting turned accidentally during transport. There's a couple of output buses mounted to the side of the pedalboard. Tip number 5, by the way. Very useful way to route your outputs. It makes you flexible in the positioning of your pedals. the last pedal in your signal chain doesn't always have convenient outputs that can be easily reached. So in this way you can route the outputs by means of patch cables to these output buses, and you can place the pedal anywhere you like. At the moment they are not connected, the RC3 being the last one in my chain at the moment, with very convenient output buses. I don't use a DI, by the way. I don't really have a need for it. I just use these outputs to go straight to the monitor unit, where we have a passive splitter that splits the signal into one that goes to the monitor mixer and the other one to front of house. Same goes for the input. The one downside of this Joyo system is that the plugs are not hinged, so they really stick out. I used to have this input on the side, nicely tucked away, but as you can see, it's quite dangerous. If I accidentally kick it with my shoe or bump it into the mic stand, it might just break off and destroy my gig. So I simply mounted an input bus to a metal plate that is velcroed to the pedal board, and now the input plug doesn't stick out. So to wrap it up, my signal chain is quite simple. This input patch cable connects to the compression pedal, which goes straight into my octaver, then to the discombobulator. The output from there goes into the HX Stomp with the synth pedal as an effects loop, which is very convenient. Bonus tip, because in this way you can manipulate the input gain of the synth pedal per preset. This is quite important for the sensitivity of certain filter parameters in the synth pedal. And from the HX Stomp I go stereo out to the RC3 and to the monitor mixer and front of house. Turned out a bit longer than I expected. I hope this was useful, and thanks for watching.